Hi, my name is Renee with rockallphotography.com, and today I have Stef with an F, the vocalist from City of the Week, and tonight they're playing in Corpus Christi, Texas. Stef, thank you very much for joining me today and taking some time out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So for those unfamiliar with you, how would you describe your sound for City of the Week?
We're an alternative rock band. We're not so alternative that we're not on the radio, obviously. So, mainstream enough to be on the radio, yet alternative enough that we appeal to, more technical musicians as well. So somewhere kind of in the middle between mainstream and alternative.
Yeah, I guess that's a good blend too, because that's, you get fans that will seek you out to listen to your music, even if you're not on the radio.
Oh, totally.
Which is your diehard fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll follow you forever.
Yeah, we're easy listening so that normal people who aren't technically musical can enjoy it, and then those people who are technically musical, there's a lot of little undertone things and really technical things that we do have about us as a band that they can enjoy and be like, oh, they're not just another rock band doing the same basic stuff. There's more to them. They are musicians.
Right. So this tour you've been on for about 2 weeks. How's that going so far?
It's going so great. We're having a great time. Echo Black, they're from New York, and the Scar Seal and Time, they're from Houston, Texas, so not that far. And they've been so great. It's such a great tour package, and all the dates have been awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started off rough. We rolled our van the day before we were supposed to leave, and that was really rough. So we couldn't take it. We had to do a rental, which most bands are rentals anyway, so it wasn't horrible, but it sucks when that's your home and then your home is destroyed. It was just tough.
Oh, of course. And then having to find somebody that's available to give you a van.
I know,
and
within 12 hours, we're supposed to leave in 12 hours. This is great.
Yeah, that's pretty that's pretty rough. So what is it, being on tour, what is it that you love about playing live?
There's so many things. We're definitely a live band. That's definitely where we shine, is at our shows. I love the energy. I love how real it is and how raw, and I feel like bands that play live and showcase their skills, it's there are bands that still do that. Not every single band is just tracked or auto-tuned. In a little club like this, it's just it's you and your raw talent, and I like showing that we have that, especially when we're really young. So I like really proving to people no, we're serious and we can do this, and we're tight, we're a great live band. And I love meeting people. I love meeting all our fans. I love people that have tweeted or Instagram commented on all your stuff for years, and then they show up and you get to meet them in person, and it's really, really, it's a magical feeling, obviously for them, but for us, we get so much out of that. It really makes the touring experience come alive, and meeting other people in the industry like yourself, other media, seeing, how other bars are run all across the country, and making really cool connections with everybody. It's a different lifestyle, and it's an amazing lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some definitely hard times. You're at truck stops every single night. You live out of your van or bus or whatever it is, but you just kind of get used to it, and you realize that life is about experiences and not about stuff.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
And actually enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, every moment, there's times when one of us will have a bad day or something, or we'll be whiny. It's dude, we're so lucky to do this. We're not held down to an office job or something that we don't like. We do love this, so stop your bitching and get over it, because we're lucky to do this.
Right. So what's your favorite song to play live?
If the energy is wild, I love playing White Fire Alarm. When people are screaming at my face, I love doing that. I also like doing Leech, probably. That's a really, really tough one. It's off our second EP. It's a really tough one. It's a crazy, it goes all over the place, changing time signatures, and I use 2.5 octaves in that song, and so I used to be really intimidated by it, but now it's this, I got this in the bag, we got this, and it's crazy.
That's good. Especially, when I've talked to other people, when they're on tour, it seems like the longer it goes, the tighter they get their sound. It's just, but for yourselves, it seems like y'all are constantly touring.
Yeah, we've been touring since basically the inception of the band. We started touring before we should have been touring, before we had a record or anything, but, I think a lot of bands do this thing where they practice or whatever, but the best practice is getting out there. Obviously our first few tours, half the shows were to nobody, but we gained that experience of going out there and doing it, and having really bad shows, and you know, even us playing, there'd be times we get off stage and be like, that was awful, that was the worst thing we've ever heard. But then you learn from it and you get better and you get better and you get used to the different sounds of different venues and the different feels and the different stages, and like there's literally nothing that compares to the experience of getting out there and doing it.
Right.
So I mean, now it feels like we're like just seasoned, you know, at it. Like, I mean, we've done what, 20 some tours.
Wow,
So that's a
bit.
lot. That's a lot for us being, you know, in our early 20s. So
Yeah, that is a lot. There's some people that, you know, have been around for like 10, 15 years and haven't done that many.
yeah.
And they're like, why haven't I succeeded?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a long road, and it's not like we expect to like be huge anytime soon. We know it's a really long road, so I mean, it's not helping us sitting at home.
Right.
I mean, it's not. Social media, like, obviously is a great thing, but I feel like so many bands just rely on it. They think that if I get my social media numbers up or if I do enough ads, yeah, that's all supplemental. Like, it helps, but I mean, you have to advertise something.
Right.
You know, if you're not playing shows, what are you advertising? Like,
Right. Just you can just advertise the song, but it's different to see you live
of
and
course,
performing it.
that's what really gets people into it. Like, all of our diehards, they're the people that saw us live and are like, oh my god, they get an experience.
Right. So y'all actually just released a cover song, "Pardon Me," about last month, right? So how's
Yep.
that going? The reception to that?
It's going really well. We didn't really plan on putting that song out. It was kind of like a last minute, like, you know, as we were waiting for the record, waiting for the next single to come out, we're like, we just want to do something. We want to get content out there before this tour, and people really liked that one when we were on the road, and we were like, let's do this. You know,
Yeah.
let's go in there, and then once we got to the studio, it definitely changed a lot from what we were playing live before, and we added some guitar layers and we added some vocal harmonies, and we just kind of did our thing with it, and we're really, really happy with it, and our fans have loved it.
Yeah.
And so we've been, you know, making sure other people are, you know, other Incubus fans are seeing it, seeing what they think, and everybody's loved it so far. Or most people. There's been some haters, but there's always gonna be haters.
Yeah, it's
You
just a
know?
handful, but it's not so much you have to pay attention to. It's like, well, if you don't like it, just continue on, and I'm still gonna do my thing anyway.
Yeah, but we've got the best reception of this one,
Yeah.
I think. Like, there's been the least amount of haters on this one, because it's Incubus. Like, how can you hate on that? Like,
I know,
really?
right? So do y'all have another single lined up after this one? Maybe
Yes.
about a month or so down the line, or what?
Right before we left, we shot a music video, and so
Okay.
we're not done with it though. We had some storms, so of course Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we couldn't finish filming it because some of it's outdoors. So we'll have to film the rest of it when we get back. But we are planning to release it in May or early June, and it's going to be the next single off the record, and then the record's going to drop about a week later.
Okay, so that was my next question. You are dropping an album in May then?
In June.
In June, okay.
Yep.
Excellent. How's that going? I mean, how many songs are you gonna have on that?
There's 10 songs, I believe. I should know. Yeah, there's about 10. I know we did like a couple interludes, so I think that it equals out to be about 10 full songs. And it was great. We got to work with Craig Owens. He's one of my favorite singers of all time, and he's one of the few people out there that are true artists, and I really liked how he pushed us musically. It wasn't about, you know, make song structure or making sure it sells. It was all about artistic integrity, and I feel like that's such a lost art these days. It's all about working with the big famous producer who did this and shelling out, you know, all this money to work with this name.
Right.
And it's like, well, they're not a good fit for you. Or, you know, do you want to sound exactly like the last band they did? Like, you really want to be a ripoff of whatever band they did? Like, really? Like, we didn't want to be a ripoff of somebody else. We wanted to be the first City of the Week, and we want to sound like ourselves, not like the second Metallica or the second whatever, you know, like,
Right.
we want to be the first of our brand, because all of the greats were the first, you know, the first Queen, the first, you know, Metallica, first this, like,
Right.
everybody who's great was the first, and we want to carve our own path and make our own sound, and Craig really helped with that and pushed us to our limits, and we're super thankful.
Well, that's great that you work with somebody like that instead of, like you're saying, somebody's like, no, well, I have this mold that I want you to fit in.
Yeah, because anytime, like, in the past we had tried that, it just didn't work. Like, we had done some co-writes, we had done some, you know, singles or worked with other producers, and it just didn't fit. I mean, I think, especially being a female-fronted band, you get that a lot. People see you as, you're always like, oh, you're the next Gwen Stefani, you're the next Maria Brink. They always see you in a box, and I feel like men aren't put quite as much in that box automatically. They think, oh, you're a girl, and they want to compare you instantly to, you know, one of the
Right.
few that are out there, because there's not as many, so they want to compare you. And like that's horrible. You shouldn't do that. Like though they're great because they wanted to do their own thing, and so you need to look at me as an individual. And Craig totally did that.
Right.
Like I was never treated differently from being a girl. I never being like, oh, you sound like this female. It's always you are you,
right.
And I love that.
You're a musician in a band.
Yeah.
That's what it should boil down to, pretty much. So on the writing process, how long did it take y'all to write these songs? Was it something that you did a long time, or is it when you did in the studio?
Well, we started writing, I want to say, like late 2015. I mean, we're kind of constantly writing as much as we can, being on the road so much. And then we spent 2016 writing it. We did some in the studio. There was a song that like made the cut that we literally wrote probably like 2 days before we went in. So it kind of a mix of some stuff that took a year, some stuff that took, 2 days.
Yeah. Now on the writing process, is it a group effort that everybody has like not so much equal say, but instead of like only this person writes the rhythm to it or only this person writes lyrics to it?
Well, the guys do more of the music, so they'll do like the riff or like the feel of it.
Yeah.
Because I like having a bass. Like I have notebooks and notebooks full of words, but I don't. It's kind of hard. It's harder for us to start with the lyrics and a melody, and for me to be like, here's my song, versus them giving me a feel, giving me a bass, and then I can take my lyrics and what I have and kind of piece them around that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it gives it a more solid foundation. Because I spent so many years writing around my words, because that's kind of was my thing, and so I would play my instruments around that and try to find the chords that match, but it just never, like, I always kind of end up writing like pop songs, like very cookie cutter pop songs, just for whatever reason. That's just kind of what it kind of turns into. So I like that they give me the feel for me to match with, and then I'll find the words that are going to match with that. And if I don't like something, I'll be like, maybe try this. And I kind of do more of the editing. The guys will do the actual riffs, the actual music. I'll do more of the production and the editing, and I do all the melodies, all the words. So it's definitely a team effort.
Yeah. So when you write lyrics, is it a lot of personal stuff or stuff that you see?
I mean, a little bit of both. I mean, I like to observe. I like to get out. I live downtown, so I walk everywhere pretty much. And so I like to just kind of observe other people, and I like to read the news. I like to stay up on current events, and there's so much, mess in the world that's going on that you see, and so many horror stories in the news. I mean, there's horrible things going on all the time around the world. So I like to, paint pictures about and speak about things that other people maybe don't speak out about. So, I mean, we have a song on our last record called Mannerisms about child abuse. We also have The Difference Between You and Me Is, that was about gay marriage. There's definitely different, there's just different social issues that, I think that it's important that artists still talk about. And I think that rock today is kind of gets watered down sometimes. I feel like they want to appeal to broader people, but it's like, well, you can still appeal to a lot of people but still have your core values and, fight for, speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves.
Yeah, and that's something that's come up recently with some bands that have released some songs or a new album or a single, and they get bashed or negative reviews because like, oh, why are you talking about politics, or why are you talking about this? It's like, well, because that's what's affecting me at this point right now, and I want to make a point about it.
Totally. I mean, that's rock and roll is founded on having opinions and not caring, and it's just whack to me that people will bash rock bands for having opinions, and it's like, that's why you're in a rock band. Like, I'm not in a rock band to shut my mouth and be quiet, and somebody the other day was I heard said something about how I dress on stage. I'm too provocative. It's like, I'm in a rock band. If I want to be conservative, I'll go, I don't know, I'll be a school teacher, I'll be a kindergarten teacher. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a rock band. Like, that's the point of art is, like, kind of like Marilyn Manson always says, the point of art is to provoke people and make them think and make them feel things, whether it's negative or good or, and I talk about what I see and talk about my experiences and my situations with people and other people's that I see. So, it's kind of a whole mix of things.
Yeah. Excellent. So we're almost done here. So what is it that, I'm assuming because you're in a band, you probably grew up with music. What do you love about music overall?
I actually didn't. I'm into music because I didn't grow up with a whole lot of it. Like, my parents didn't listen to music.
Oh, really?
I know it's really unusual. I'm the only musical person in my family. So I think it was more of like, I got started into like art and writing. So like even as a child, like I would make these little like there's three hole punchers, and I'd tie yarn, and I'd make these books, and I'd write stories, and then I'd color and I'd illustrate, and I just liked the freedom of expression. I feel like maybe with like being from a conservative family, I didn't have the freedom of expression, and my art was kind of that. It's a way to say what you feel and have a voice. And I think once I started hearing like songs on the radio, we only had country radio in Montana, so it kind of inspired me. And then my grandma gave me her piano when I was probably like 8, and I love just sitting down, and I love just bringing my words to life, and it just kind of made sense. Like I don't really know any musician that's like makes a conscious decision of like, this is what. It's hard to describe, I guess. To me, it just happened. It just makes sense.
Right.
Life just makes sense when you do it.
Yeah. It just fits you the way you're in the right spot where you're supposed to be.
It feels good, and it's like when you don't have the art, when I'm not playing, when I'm not singing, it's like I feel like stripped away of my voice. I just don't feel good, I feel like it brings me to life. I remember like running home from the bus stop after school and like trying to get home early enough so nobody was there so I could just play and sing, because the piano was like in the living room, and they'd always, my parents obviously wanted, or my sister, whoever was around, didn't always want to hear me belting out and singing and stuff. Yeah. So, it's the freedom of expression.
Yeah. So what else, other than you have a single coming out in probably May, you have an album coming out in June, anything else? Is there another tour after this one? Are you playing any festivals?
Yeah, we are playing Awesome Bike Nights in Sioux City, and then we are playing Saturday in the Park, also in Sioux City. So those are kind of the 2 festivals right now. Right after this tour, we're doing Rocklahoma, which is really exciting. Oh, yeah. We've done a lot of the major festivals in the Midwest, but we've never done anything in Oklahoma specifically. So we did do South by So What in Dallas. That's not that far, I don't think. But yeah, Rocklahoma, then the bike one, and then the other Sioux City one, the Saturday in the Park. And then we're trying to play on a CD release tour right now. I haven't started booking it. Yeah. So about a month behind on that, but
you'll catch up.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. It's just been hectic.
Yeah. All right. So where can fans find you online right now?
You can just Google us. Honestly, all of our social media should pop up. cityoftheweekofficial.com. We're building a new website right now. It's gonna look awesome. And also Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes. We're pretty much anywhere bands are. Yeah. All of our handles are just at City of the Week. Nothing fancy.
Okay. So it makes it easier to, once they do that, they'll find you.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're super easy to find.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Stef, I appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time out. And I wish you the best on this tour.
Well, thank you.